this is actually something I wanted to ask you. And when you were in the WWF, I'm sorry we skipped a few years ahead now, but were you ever stationed in Connecticut or with Brett or anything like that to sort of train up a bit before you debuted in the WWF?
No, what we did do is I was wrestling in Mexico at this point in time, full time, but they did bring me up to the television studio for 2 weeks. It was a 2 week camp. I think it was one of their first ones, and Edge was in on that as well. There was a few guys in that. Ahmed Johnson was there, and they were just we were just in the television studio in the ring, just basically practicing and performing and giving the office a chance to see what we can do in the ring. Now, this was before they set up any kind of, developmental territory or anything like that. And I was up there for 2 weeks rolling around in the ring and then sent back to Mexico. And then it was shortly after that they started building the developmental program, I guess.
What were they looking for at the time out of you in those 2 weeks?
I think they were just, and I don't know. I don't know specifically what it was they were looking for, if there was anything specific they were looking for. From what I gathered, what I could see happening, in that television studio was they were seeing if guys were polished, seeing if guys could tell a story in the ring. Like they'd say, hey, go in the ring, give me 10 minutes. You're up, you're down. Let's see what you can do. And I think they were looking for guys that could tell stories in the ring. They're looking for, the execution of the moves, the selling. How polished are you? Are you polished enough that they can take you and package you up and use you in their wrestling product? And that's kind of the feeling I got while I was there. Was that's what they were looking for, just to see, where are the dollar signs and what I have before me wrestling in this ring. And you had some brainiacs there just turning the wheels while they're watching us perform and just trying to figure out how they could monetize. When I'm in the ring, they're thinking, how can we monetize this greatness? And other people in the ring, how can we monetize these guys that have to follow greatness?
Well, you mentioned Ahmed Johnson there, so maybe they were looking at him and going, how do we get this guy to not hurt himself or others as much?
Good point. Good point. There's a little story about Ahmed Johnson. Now, I don't know the guy. It's the only time I ever met him was in that camp. And so other than that, I don't know the guy. But Pat Patterson was there, and they said, okay, it's going to be Sean, Ahmed Johnson. I can't remember what they said. They said, give me 8 minutes or something like that. And Pat Patterson pointed at me, he goes, you're up, and pointed to Ahmed and said, you're down. Give me whatever it was, 8 minutes. And Ahmed Johnson put his arm around Pat Patterson and kind of walked off a little bit. And a few minutes later, Pat Patterson comes up and he goes, because they wanted me to go up with the splash off the top rope. Now, it wasn't even called the money shot. Nobody had named it the money shot. I just called it the splash. That was it at this point in time. You're going to hit him with a splash. He goes, he just came to me and said that he doesn't think it's a good idea because he's been on WWE TV at that point. I haven't. He goes, he doesn't think it's a good idea that you should hit him with the splash and beat him because you haven't had any WWF TV. And I looked at Pat in disbelief. We're in a friggin' television studio performing for you. And he goes, I'm just saying. And he turned around and walked away. I couldn't believe it. I mean, there's no fans there. It's not like it's getting recorded. It's literally just a show, right? Just show what you can do. And he didn't want me to go over. It was unbelievable. I still went over, but it was
with the splash.
With the splash. But it was unbelievable. He tried to talk Pat out of, I don't think this is such a good idea that, this kid goes over on me with a splash off the top rope. I mean, look at me. It's just like, oh my God, are you serious? So yeah, that was my unreal.
Is that the only time anyone's refused to lose to you?
Yeah. And not even on a show. It was literally just for, performing in front of the office so they could see what you do. Yeah, just in the television studio. Unbelievable.
Do you know, I love a story about Ahmed Johnson. He always surprises you with the stories that you just never, that you sort of expect, yet you're still surprised when you hear it.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?